This episode of CNR JUTA DE BEER is sponsored by MIWAY Blink, the faster, simpler, and more rewarding car insurance. Get a quote in minutes. Get car cover sorted in a blink.
That's when I really sat down with myself and started really depending on me. I think that's just for me. And anything else, that's just that lesson and moving away from dependence or the idea of codependency. And so yung thing it's just following that voice. But you do this, do that. And for me, yung thing just depositing. So every time I deposit, whether it be energy or money, into the things that I believe in, there's a result, and the result is always positive. So hence why I'm doing right now.
From CNR JUTA DE BEER, imini nomsindisi wesizwe, umvelisi Mnqango umelisi wesizwe, formerly known as Lwazi Madonsela, bringing you a show about creative entrepreneurs live from the landmark that not only birth SA street culture but also formalize the street hustle. On today's episode, we have Bob the Stylist. CNR JUTA DE BEER, umsindisi wesizwe, umvelisi Mnqango special edition, really special edition. We have Bob the Stylist, an image maker, a man who gives back to the community, a culture leader. You've been around, tried and tested, blogger from your times.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm grand, I'm dog.
How long?
How long?
How long did it take for you to create your identity?
Say 13 years.
Yeah.
So we started Soweto in 2011. 2010, late 10, 2011. Registered the brand in 2013. Right, so officially this year Soweto is turning 10 years. Well, yeah, legally it's turning 10 years, but it's 11 years. But it's two. For how long? And it's been forever. Because even before Soweto, I've been just trying to make things happen for myself.
Yeah. Talking about making things happen, for me, I think the most intriguing part is like, we've met, I didn't really know who you are, and eventually I started seeing pieces and puzzles coming together.
Yeah.
You started in the blog era, Tumblr era. You graduate that, which was the blog Boys of Soweto, when you were styling everyone. And you graduate into a brand, which becomes Boys of Soweto, which has a store in 99 Juta. And then from that, you take it to the next level. You start giving back from boys to men. Men Tomorrow, which is your foundation. Take us through the thought process. Did you know those were the gradual steps to not only formulating how men look, but also the mindset?
No, man, I didn't plan it, right? I didn't plan it, but these things unveil themselves as you partake on the journey, right? Purely pursuing passion, trying to create all the things that I've always wanted to do, but within that space, you're within that space of seeking to create, right? Purpose then reveals itself with, actually, there is a greater thing beyond the core, beyond the things that you're trying to achieve, beyond your dreams, beyond your goals that you're trying to attain, beyond material things that you're trying to attain. But there is something greater that you need to play in your community, right? But at the same time, I feel like it has to be a normal thing, right, for everyone. Most of us are from the townships or from the rural area. We know how the situation is, right? We are born into us, and what are we doing? What is it saying about us? And why is it easy for us to cast blame or to blame the government? Right? But fair enough, and I get it, good, because they were the one in governance, right? But when your power wins on in your community wins on. So for me, it's like sitting down, looking myself in the spiritual mirror and just reflecting. But sharp when you move, but in Donas are came on so in say 20 years from now. And if you look at boys just in general, where I see it, it's not positive. So I had to make a stand, or I had to at least create an initiative. For me, it's just an initiative. Because ngiyabonga by side, and just background. So I'm a Soweto nomad, right? I've resided in Makasina Bay. I've resided in formal settlement, Snake Park. 1999, I moved to Protea Clan, and that changed my life, right? Just the environment itself, right? And Mangfia Protea Clan, it was such a positive vibe, right? There were guys. There's a crew called what's this crew? Focus Crew. these guys were rappers, but at the same time they're very stylish, right?
Mm.
So I had people that I looked up to, and Mangwele Casino, it went down. The whole, even that, just the whole atmosphere icon, it's going down, and as was why, yeah. But overall, I'm just trying to contribute and give back. But at the same time, I don't get it why it's such a special thing when money ends, because we all see it.
Mm.
We all need to be active. We all need to be responsible, and instead of just casting blame or expecting other men to do what we can.
Mm.
Yeah.
Man, your story, it's a full circle type story for me when I looked at it, because going into researching Bob,
Yeah.
and then find Boys of Soweto with mixtape,
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
branching out into music. What was the intent? Because you're finding a lot of creatives, they'll step into DJing, Tebe also DJs, different designers, they're always tapping into something other than what they're known for.
Yeah.
Like with Virgil, we saw with televised radio. What led to you making the album?
I've always loved hip hop, right? Ngiputsha, wonke bangazi ngiputsha, but I think there was a time in high school, and we on a Friday would, because also high school, I went to Eldorado Park, Silver Oaks Secondary, and on a Friday, there's no Pumanje, this is a Candy Square, and I just saw guys rapping, and I'm like, what is this thing? And I go my cypher, and it was just a different energy, and it was such it wasn't normal, such a beautiful energy. It was like, yo, man, I want to be part of this, right? Not knowing Guti later on in life, I'm actually going to be part of it. I worked in retail after I matriculated. I work in retail while trying to study at the same time. I applied for IMM, right? Whilst working in retail, that's when I got properly inducted into the hip hop culture. And among it inducted, properly schooled, but what hip hop is. And I kind of resonated with what it stands for, from just the acronym hip hop. Hip, something that's cool, something that's smart, and it's just black people finding ways to change the situation, right? And at the same time, just illustrating the innate genius. Right? That's what hip hop is, right? Being cool, and it's something that's keep it moving. And I always wanted to be part of that. And I remember when working in retail, I was like, you know what, nami ngifuna uzibona ngirap, because I feel like I have something to share. And at that time, the Common and the Solo Aquarians. Yeah, this was me, right? Other stuff, I couldn't digest other stuff because it was negative. The whole gangster rap, I couldn't tap into that space because purely on just a corner and how I was raised. But I could resonate, I could connect with Common, like, oh, maybe I'm gonna do this. And then fast forward, because I'd made that vow, right, to myself, I'm gonna contribute to the hip hop culture because I've taken so much, right?
Yeah.
And the mixtape, the EP that I dropped in 2020, it was my offering. It's called Drydens Beneath the Ocean, but it's just my offering. And in my mind, I'm a teacher, so I use that as a vessel to share what I've learned, what I've experienced. Yeah.
Your journey, man, it's like you a guy with, like when I'm a fight. Essentially, that chapter in your life when you realize I'm the fly dude. How do you translate being a fly dude and then being a stylist? Because there's a lot of kids coming from our backgrounds, Pumigas, where it's like, I want to be a stylist. I know style, I know how to dress myself, but how do you get to a point where you're actually a stylist, where you're paid to be a stylist?
Okay. How
can one make that happen for themselves?
All right. So when I left my day job, I used to work at call center.
Yeah. So
call center 2010, it's a stupid program they go in government, right? And when that ended, I made a vow, you know what, I'm not going back. I'm not gonna seek for Hispani. I'm just gonna pursue this thing they're looking in, because even when I was working in call center, I used to get compliments with your Scarpa. And some security guards were like, hey man, I'll ache or something. Then I was just, you know what, maybe I need to pursue this thing, right? And I did that. So first thing that I did, I created a portfolio for myself. And I knew you had to create a portfolio. And mind you, I had worked in retail for like 2 to 3 years. So I understood visual merchandising, how to create looks, type of thing.
So you didn't study visual merchandising?
No, I didn't. I didn't study fashion. The only thing that I enrolled for was IMM, and I did like one assignment, and that was it. And I was just on my own. I went to the streets, and so yonke into was self-taught. And being self-taught, I created a portfolio. How how it all started was on Facebook. This is pre Tumblr. I knew that I needed to create a portfolio shop. I did that. I created an album on Facebook called it Portfolio, and I'll take pictures and approach her in pictures right. It was a lot of songs that Kogisa, Funa shoot and whatnot. I feel bus by skating, but more figure and already playing games or whatnot. So it was a back and forth, but eventually I did that. Sometimes been a good shoot, or to ask a friend of mine to shoot. Whilst doing that, trying to create a portfolio, or whilst building that portfolio, and then I'd hit up I'm a designers, right? Because I knew that in order for me to tap into this fashion industry, I need to reach out to designers with, yo man, if you've got a show, I'm happy to assist. And I would send them, but okay, super sponsor, and I'd send them that album. Yeah, and which was on Facebook. Then whilst doing that, I'm in the streets, I'm trying to find things like Mali. Then I heard with blogging. Now there's blogging, there's ways you can I'm like, okay. But at the same time, I want the ways Pumanga corner, the format's so clean. Like, I'm going to use this as my portfolio. And that was a goal, right? And I did that. My first blog was Conceptual Arts, I used to call myself. Well, it was about 2000, Conceptual Arts. Started that, and whilst uploading these images, 9 benches, they kind of liked it. I know at that time, we were really close to Nabu Justice. I used to actually sell clothes. Yeah, man, number fell money. So I used to, whilst doing everything, right? Because I get spun, so I still need to support somehow. Right, I need to buy grocery and whatnot. So I used to sell in Bath. Good thing I've been selling in Bath since high school. So I was those kids that that kid that sold the Paisa, your Diesel, your Levi, just to get what I want, right? And then I took that because it's something that I sing each and I took that like, okay, in terms of push on, I started selling in Bath, which I sell Justice in Bath, G-Stars and Diesel, I'm a suit, right? So whilst doing that, I was finding a way to survive, but that itself actually turned it out into becoming a brand. Right? So it's for me, it's just following the hunch, following that rabbit, following your intuition. Right? So okay, do this. So while I was in the streets, man, from what was the question again? What was the question?
I'm lost in your story now.
Because now we move and but so those are the things that I was doing, man, whilst building a blog.
Or it was how did you become a stylist?
How did I become a stylist? While building a blog, I met a lady called Jody. This was through Justice. Me, Justice and I, he was working at Ogilvy and Bus Donza. We did a commercial Liperon, to like a background. We both saw it. So from that, like, yo man, since we're by Stylist, Stylist is and I already had, the content. Right? Yeah. I went there, I'm like, yo man, this is who I am, this is the background I'm from Agoyo. I do not have credentials, right? I didn't study fashion, but I'm quite passionate about it. And these are things that I've been doing since 2010. Like, okay, cool. Zogala, I started interning. I interned for Iskat and I got exposed to the industry. And it's just such a big space, man, from doing commercials, local commercials, international gigs, right? To working in magazines, editorial magazines. So that's how I got into the fashion industry, from interning. From Lapoga, you stretch from one gig to another. Fast forward, I'm here.
Because of Soweto, we move into a retail space. Because first time I saw it was t-shirts, pieces, then you had the utility vests, then now we're into knitwear.
I actually started with caps.
Okay.
I dropped 5-panel caps. This was probably in 2014. Started with caps, then we went to t-shirts. I used to sell those at the market in Maboni. And then there was a store. There was a store just opposite the market. I'd have my stuff there. And this was me just testing out to this idea that, actually...
Do people purchase?
Yeah, Orlando learning is it viable, right? And the response has always been positive. The response has been always positive, but what kind of prolonged the process, right? It was, I was in solo. So whilst building Soweto, building a blog, I was in solo. So I had my boy Zumbali in the stage. There's 3 of us when we started this. And the Hlana Umbali is a friend from Sasindwan, and we met to stage starting just through thrifting or nezinto besizipushe gas, right? Impahla. Yeah. And when we then formed Depots of Soweto, I'm like, okay, cool, and skijima nayo. People loved it. We started working with brands. Yeah. So nakhona kuzokuthi sibane nama-brand bengilezi nje ngiyakokota everywhere. Yeah. And where there's an opportunity, and I'm gibele phezu kwayo. So yeah, but the vision, I've always had like a bigger vision, and I'm not sure with the cats, right? But this is what we need to do, yeah. And probably, and this is, I'm just assuming, right? But they didn't see it, yeah. And there came a time that and now I'm looking around, years in right? And everyone is moving. Endlini, manji, endlini, my sister called the meeting, like, Doug, now. They didn't understand the vision, right? And when things in path, by second hand, I had like almost 200 suits. And so you can imagine second hand clothes, and then they just didn't get it. So I sit down with myself, I'm like, yo, I need to start making things happen for me. Lento moving as a circle. Yeah, it's cool in a sense of we cool people know us and whatnot, but it's not going to create revenue for me. And but I didn't really stop with fashion. So what? Since as an assistant, I'm assisting about Bianca, friends, like all the big stylists, the senior stylist, and Spananabo. But whilst underground and building, now I'm building a Suits by Bob the Stylist. And how did Suits by Bob the Stylist come about was, whilst we're taking pictures and not, people assumed that I'm actually a designer. Right? And there's a lady who hit me up on Dons with, yo man, I don't want a suit for Dons shot. And I took that opportunity. What I did, went to a lady friend of mine who studied fashion, like, yo, until the gig, from against a suit and one big in now and go to London House. From London House, we did that suit. Like, oh, for me now, from Lapo, there was like a trajectory. It's, oh, okay, I'm no longer selling second-hand suits, right? And then right now, I'm building this brand. And I started now making these suits. That's how now I'm from thrifting. It became clear. Then this hunch, because I remember. Yeah, because I remember when the first time I bought a suit, I didn't understand why I'm taking a suit, because street culture. So I was doing this for my right, and this was 2007 when I bought my first suit. Yeah, but something drove me into that suit, and from one suit to another, and having now I'm a suit at 200, right? But what by Isa probably sell a suit in 150 and sell it for 1.5. It was decent. So I was putting his life and blow me gas, and in the young night and I couldn't go to my gas. I was putting my life and just understand the culture right? Because there was this creative energy behind Zagalan, and I just wanted to be part of it, right? So from Lapo, from this cat ordering a suit, I then realized, okay, this is going to be my thing, and I ran with it. But whilst running with Suits by Bob the Stylist, boy, I'm not people saw it. I can't sleep. My ideas and all that. Then when I came back, I did a collaboration with Falky. I actually made socks, commissioned to Grey Spaces, the illustrations. They loved it, and the stuff went well. So from then, I'm doing that. I'm slightly consulting with brands, creating content for brands. Remember, I did a gig with Novesta, right? From Lapo, Bangdons, the owner of the brand, from the Slovak Bangdons, which I pulled through, and then come learn more about the brand, where it comes from, whatnot. And I did that Euro tour. I went to 4 countries, which was dope. Yeah, I'm saying, like, hey man, just
that's a crazy move.
Just connecting these dots, right? Yeah. Young bear Lapo, and now so good. I did that 2019. Like, you know what? Ngiyabuyela and pose so Ndima was ukidla. And went back on teas, tested it out, via my tea. Did sweaters, and my sweater. So now this is 2020, during COVID and whatnot. I'm selling sweaters on Instagram, creating content. My sweater via. That's when I actually now started fresh. I created a thingy, a handle for Soweto. Fast forward, I did that. I did a young capsule. I went to Cape Town and shot that with Dan. From that, Makans Young Dons with yo man, we like what you're doing. A shy collection and then sell it to us. That's what I did with them, right? So it's just for me now, it's just a journey of really connecting with myself, right? From outside abantu that I thought pusha now. You know, because when you're with homies and muntu khule nabo from yeah, and then you realize, and you know, the universe or God has a way of doing his into nendlela yokusifundisa, and that's when I really sat down with myself and started really depending on me. I think that's just for me, and it's just that lesson and moving away from dependence or the idea of codependence. And so it's just following that voice. But you do this, do that. And for me, just depositing. So every time I deposit, whether it be energy or money, into the things that I believe in, there's a result, and the result is always positive. You know, so hence why I'm right now.
What's your word to the youth?
My words for the youth, man. I think for me, it's go within, build a relationship with yourself, and because how I see it, right? The more I'm building this relationship with myself, it's the more I get to connect with what we call the universe, right? And I wouldn't even like be proud. I did this move, or I did that design, or I'm to this deal. It's just God speaking through me, right? And so I'd say for the youth, and you connect in Indonesia, spend time on yourself, invest in yourself. The idea of cool. Well, this is what I've learned. The idea of cool. The idea of what cool is for me right now, as you pouring love, boy, right? Because the more you pour love, the more you pour, and then this love will be always pattern, right? If you put time and you put money in Goyo, there's good things that's gonna happen. You'll reach spaces or levels that you never thought you'd reach. So where probably what you've studied would never bear on. So spend time with yourself and invest in your craft, man. If you're passionate about fashion, study and then actually do the actual work. And it's magic. Because I live in that space. You're in kingdom of it. I just follow that voice, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last question for me, from my side.
Yeah.
When you enter a space where you have a physical shop, how does that change the business economics for you? Your pricing, the type of way you promote your stuff, what changed for you?
So I know what Soweto is, right? Soweto is really it's actually a luxury brand, right? But I'm gonna get there. Yeah. So these are baby steps towards attaining that goal. So what then? How do I price my items? It's purely on the quality of the garments, the work that has been put in the garments. That's where I price my product, and then obviously how the cost. You can't negate the cost as well. Yeah.
Bob the Stylist, Ndima.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming to Corner Juta De Beer.
This episode of Corner Juta De Beer is sponsored by MIWAY Blink, the faster, simpler, and more rewarding car insurance. Get cover in a blink. You can get up to 50% monthly cash back when you drive less than 2.5 kilometers per month. You can also manage your cover wherever and wherever with MIWAY Blink. Get a code in minutes.